Hey, what's up, you guys? Bloody Jacob here to bring you my game review on Batman Arkham City. And yeah, this is obviously a very, very late review, but I just started playing Batman Arkham Knight for the Xbox One, and I noticed that I did a review on Batman Arkham Asylum, did a whole playthrough of that, did a review on Batman Arkham Origins. I did a shorter playthrough on Batman Arkham City, which I never finished, and I realized that I didn't even do a review of it either. So I figured before I finished Arkham Knight within the next couple weeks, it's kind of tougher to do that stuff with my work schedule and such. But before I finish Arkham Knight, I thought it'd be a good idea to go back and talk about how I felt about Batman Arkham City. So I could have all the reviews on my channel and such. And this is a very, very good game. Definitely a really good follow-up to Arkham Asylum, a good follow-up to what Arkham Asylum started. And, the whole Arkham series, it really did something great for games. It's by far the best, comic book-related video games of all time, and just some of the best games in general to come out of the last few years. I love Arkham Asylum, I love Arkham City, I even love Arkham Origins. That one gets a lot of shit, but it might be my personal favorite. And Arkham City in particular, it's very good. There are some things in this one that, little gripes I have with this one. But overall, Arkham City, it did something to take what Arkham Asylum started and expand it. It did really bring that, because of course with Arkham Asylum, being in the asylum, it was much more focused, condensed inside type of thing a lot of times, gameplay-wise. Minus when you're outside for a little bit, but that's not quite on what this one, on the level this one created. With this, you're actually in the city. You're on the buildings, tall buildings. You can glide around the whole place. It's really cool. The basic story of it is that Hugo Strange, and he has worked with. I don't really want to butcher it, so I'm gonna try and look it up real quick. Something that can summarize it a little bit better than I can. It has been a while since I played Arkham City, so cut me a little bit of slack. Let's see. Okay, so it says here, the events of Arkham City are set 1 year after Batman Arkham Asylum. Quincy Sharp, the asylum's director, has taken sole credit for halting the Joker's armed siege, using the distinction to become mayor of Gotham City, declaring both the asylum and Blackgate Penitentiary no longer suitable to contain the city's prisoners or whatever. Sharp's administration orders both facilities closed, and he purchases Gotham's most notorious slums, converting them into an immense prison enclosure known as Arkham City. The facility is subsequently placed in the care of psychiatrist Hugo Strange, who is secretly manipulating Sharp and monitored by a rogue private military firm, Tiger Security. Strange permits the inmates to do as they please as long as they do not attempt to escape. A wary Batman maintains his own vigil over the new project, concerned that the chaotic situation there will get out of hand. Meanwhile, the Joker is suffering from a potentially fatal disease caused by his previous consumption of the Titan formula, if you guys remember the end of Arkham Asylum, an unstable steroid serum which turns men into maddened monsters. So yeah, it's kind of the setup for the story there. And the story, it gets even better in Arkham City. It was good in Arkham Asylum, but compared to Arkham City, it's very simple, and that's not always a bad thing either. But Arkham City really expanded on it, really brought even more into the story. I really like Hugo Strange's involvement in this game. I like the voice actor for him, character design and such. I'm always very accurate to the comics the series is, while still having their own kind of unique look, or slightly different look to each character. And the Joker part of it is really good too. It probably ends up being the best part of the game. What ends up happening between the Batman and Joker in this one, which we'll talk about in a little bit. Selena Kyle, Catwoman, is also in this game. She was actually used for a lot of the promotional stuff for it before the game came out. And it's cool to see her in this, but she ends up not having a huge role in the story really at all. We see her towards the beginning, and then just a little bit at the end. I feel like they could have brought Catwoman into the story a little bit more. I think that would have been one of the things that could have made it even better than it was. But still, it was cool to see her in this. You have some good boss fights in this one as well. You have Clayface, and going back to what the story is about, of course, you think it makes you think it is one thing, and it really expands and starts blowing shit out of the water, because you think it's all about what Hugo Strange is up to and the Joker and such. Well, then it turns out who really has Hugo Strange as his puppet is actually Ra's al Ghul. And you meet Talia, or you see Talia again and stuff like that. And when the story goes into that territory, I didn't know that was going to happen. So when it becomes a Ra's al Ghul type of thing, I was pretty surprised, and it definitely interested me. So the story definitely gets a lot bigger than you would initially think it would be. So I really like that quality about it. And the boss fight with Ra's al Ghul is pretty cool as well it's pretty cool as well visual wise. Clayface fight is pretty cool. Then you also fight Solomon Grundy in this, which is good, but it's more like a pattern fight, which all of these are, but it's still pretty cool to fight him. And what happens to the Joker in this is, of course, this really sets the tone for Arkham Knight, because like it says, the Joker is potentially dying of a disease he's contracted because of what he was doing at the serum and Arkham Asylum. And I'm not going to be able to tell you about every part of the story, but it basically ends up where Batman does have the antidote, but then it gets destroyed, and the Joker actually ends up dying, which is kind of surprising. The Batman Arkham games have always been a little bit more closer to the comics than what a lot of stuff is. So you would expect darker results, which they do have, but just to see the Joker actually die is still a little bit surprising. And what's really great about it is actually the psychology between Batman and Joker when this happens. And that's something else the Arkham series does really well, is concentrate on that and their relationship and their really weird bond and sort of connection. Like Batman says at the end, as Joker's dying, he would have saved him despite everything, even with the whole Oracle thing and such. So it really says a lot about it, and it really goes well into Arkham Knight because Batman's still haunted by the Joker being killed, and it really does a lot to his psyche, which of course it would, because again the two just shared something really strange and special. And it is kind of sad, you feel like Batman lost someone too. Of course he didn't want anyone to die, but you feel like the Joker, the Joker always means more to him than I think we really know, and vice versa. And even just to see Harley's reaction to it as well. And you can see Catwoman watching from afar, and even she sort of, feels something, about how Batman would react to that. And then you have Gordon asking him what happened, and Batman's just not replying to him. He just sets the Joker on the car and leaves. So yeah, it's a hell of an ending. Definitely will leave a mark on you if you don't know what actually happens beforehand. So yeah, the story in it is actually really good. The Hugo Strange stuff is interesting at the beginning. You even have Penguin in there. Who's pretty fun in the game too. And then, of course, the Hugo Strange stuff is interesting, like I said. Then the Joker stuff is, of course, really, really important. And then the Ra's al Ghul stuff makes the story even bigger, which I was really happy about. So the story is really great in the game. It really takes it a step further than Arkham Asylum. And of course, the combat remains really nice. The combat in the Arkham games is always just some of the best I've ever seen, if not the best I've seen in games. The controls, for fighting aren't complex whatsoever, but at the same time, it really looks like you're fighting as Batman. It really looks like you're doing everything he can. It looks really complex, but it isn't. I think it's a perfect balance. So the graphics, they're fine. The cutscenes are fine, but I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like during the actual gameplay, the graphics are slightly more cartoonish than they were in Arkham Asylum. I don't know if that's true, but I've played both of the games quite a few times, and I just feel like for some reason the graphics in Arkham Asylum almost look more realistic, just by a little bit. I don't know if it's just me, but the graphics are still fine overall in Arkham City, though, and it doesn't really take away from anything, but it's just something I notice. I'm not really sure what happened there, but the graphics are still fine despite that. And so those are all my overall thoughts on the game. There's plenty more I could talk about. Like I said, it's been a while since I had played it, but I still wanted to get my thoughts out there before I eventually finish Arkham Knight, so I can have all the reviews out. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. You can let me know what you thought about Arkham City, how you think it compared to Arkham Asylum, what it did for the series, where it stands among the series for you. And yeah, so I'll catch you guys next time. You can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and look for InSpoiled.com. And peace.